I think it's fair to say that over the last few days, it has been absolute chaos in the world of football. Absolutely mental. And I thought it's about time that I had my say on what's happened. A lot of people have asked me to make a video with my thoughts, and here we are. It's going to replace today's video, but we'll be back to normal tomorrow. First of all, I want to say that as I'm making this video, it seems like the whole Super League project is postponed. Hopefully, cancelled forever. Let me briefly explain what the Super League was meant to be. So those of you who are somehow not aware of what's been going on in the world of football over the last few days, basically, some of the big dudes, the owners, chairmen of some of the big clubs around the world, we're talking Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal and Liverpool from the Premier League. We then had Juventus, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Real Madrid, Barcelona. These were the clubs that were mainly involved, and I think there was a couple more that were due to join in. They wanted to, well, I say their owners, the chairman, the greedy people that run these clubs and own these clubs, decided that we're going to shake up football and we're going to create our own Super League. You guys have probably seen a YouTube series from me in the past. I've done a Super League. It's where you put all the biggest and best teams into a league and see who the best is. And this was almost a reality, and it would have completely changed football as we know it. It would have meant that the players taking part wouldn't be able to play for their countries. They would be banned from domestic competitions like the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Champions League. They wouldn't have been able to play in that either. I should mention the Super League was originally intended to be played alongside current competitions. It wasn't going to completely disregard everything else and just be the Super League. They wanted it to be part of what we have now. Obviously, that was never going to go down well, and yeah, the uproar was incredible. And the first point I want to make before I go on, I love to see all of the fans from rival clubs get together and fight this. There was chaos, absolute chaos. If it wasn't for the pandemic and stadiums being closed off from the public and the fans coming in, can you imagine the scenes? It would have been absolute chaos. And I think that actually they're a little bit lucky, the owners, that that wasn't the case, and that most of the fight, most of the anger was shared online. Sites like Twitter, it was trending for basically 2 or 3 days straight. The Super League idea was stupid, absolutely nonsensical, and in my opinion, and it might seem like I'm just jumping on the bandwagon now that it's potentially cancelled. I could easily just say, I knew it wasn't going to happen, but genuinely, when I heard this news and I saw the clubs all tweeting and posting on social media that they were part of this Super League idea, I knew, and I had a very strong feeling that it just wouldn't go ahead. Because you could see straight away that everyone was losing their mind over this. And do you know what, though? I've had a few days to think about it. I've been really considering my allegiance with Arsenal. I really strongly felt like if it did go ahead, that I would just simply not follow my club anymore. Of course, I love this club. I own so many Arsenal bits. Look at my room. It's literally Arsenal. I love this club, and I've watched it and I've supported them since I was 7 years old. That's a long time and nowhere near as long as some people. But I was considering just becoming a neutral football fan. And to be fair, I wasn't even sure I would enjoy football anymore because the heart and soul of the sport was being ripped out in front of our eyes. But the one reason I didn't take this sign down, the one reason I'm not getting rid of my hats and burning them and all my shirts and stuff like that is because it wasn't the manager. It wasn't the players. It wasn't the majority of the staff. It's the greedy owners that run these clubs like an American franchise. It's so disheartening. Stan Kroenke, get out of my club, please. We've already seen some other clubs are losing board members and chairmen, and I'm praying, absolutely on my knees, that Stan Kroenke follows suit and leaves. Get out of the club. This was him. This was his team and the other owners and chairmen involved. This wasn't the club's. Did you know that the managers and the staff and the players didn't even know that this was happening until the night we found out? How disgraceful is that. Imagine waking up and you're one of the players. Imagine you're Bukayo Saka. You've woken up to the news. He was probably in bed early that night because players go to bed early. They've got training in the morning, whatever. They wake up and find out that the future of their career, which they're just blossoming into, Saka, one of the best young players in the world, his career was over if this happened. You're telling me that not playing for England, not playing in the Champions League, not playing in the Premier League wouldn't harm his career just so he could go play in some stupid make-believe Super League that wasn't even competitive. You couldn't even be relegated if you're one of the founding 15 clubs. So there's no reason to worry. So what if you don't win your game? So what if you lose every single match in the Super League season? You wouldn't get relegated. And there's nothing to win. It's not like you're qualifying for an even better competition. If you win, it's just, well done, guys. Let's go again next season. Here's your money. Absolute joke. And I'm so relieved that my beliefs came true and that it won't happen. It can't happen. And actually, we are getting some silver linings, positive news coming out that these greedy men in suits, they're hopefully going to get kicked out. And there needs to be some new laws and some restrictions put in place to stop something like this happening again. It's truly scary. Again, to those of you watching this and you don't really know what's going on, the Super League idea quite literally has been bubbling around for years and it came out of nowhere. It was like that. It just happened on a Sunday night at 11:30 UK time. What is that? What do they think that we're just not going to see it? And it's okay. Don't worry. It was quite literally the best example that you could ever see of these rich, greedy men. That's the best word to describe them. Well, there's better words, but I'm not going to say them on this channel, but greed. These greedy guys, okay, they basically treat the Premier League, the biggest league in world football, supposedly, and the biggest sport in the world that is watched by billions, they treated it like a playground. It's just a bit of fun to them. They can shell out billions and loads of money on these projects and don't even care about the response from the fans. They don't care about the players' thoughts. Unbelievable. Fantastic news when I heard that Henderson, Liverpool's captain, got all of the other club captains together to talk about this. It was fantastic when I heard the 14 clubs that weren't involved in the Premier League got together and fought this. They had the FA's back, UEFA's back. They had it. They were making sure this wasn't going to happen. But the biggest problem I've got now, these so-called Big Six clubs in the Premier League, why are Arsenal and Tottenham included in that these days? I don't know. But these Big Six clubs have done irreversible damage now. It's actually really disappointing, not just as an Arsenal fan, but as a football fan, to see clubs basically being held hostage by their owners, reputations on the line, tarnished, history, the historic values these clubs have. It was going to be thrown away. Some of these clubs would have signed up to potentially losing all of their past wins and victories and trophies just so they can take part in this Super League and get the money out of it. We're talking massive amounts of money, and they keep saying it's because of COVID, it's because teams need money, and what about the other clubs that weren't invited then? They're okay, yeah, just leave them out of this, we just want the big boys. Oh, I could go on for hours and hours about how torrid, how disgusting, how much of a nightmare this idea was. I am so grateful it's not going forward. But do you know what? It reeked of American franchising. You know what they do over in America with their sports? That's what it felt like. And do you know what? If you like that, then that's fine. But don't mess with our game. Don't mess with our shit, man. Don't do that. This is my football club. Well, it's not mine. I don't own it. But this is my club. I love Arsenal. Don't know why I'm tapping this shirt. I don't have an Arsenal badge, but I love this club. But more importantly, I love football. I love football in this league in particular. I would have watched the Bundesliga from now on. If this was to go through, I would have taken this sign down. I would have got rid of that plaque. I would have got rid of all my hats and shirts. And I would have gone and watched the Bundesliga, where their clubs stood up to this and said, no, we're not doing this. They have regulations in place to make sure this can't happen. The fans own their clubs, the majority, okay? We need that here in the UK. We need that in football in total. But don't get me wrong, this isn't the only problem in football. And thankfully, this is resolved. There are many other issues. One thing I love about my club Arsenal, we have always done things the right way. We have stayed within regulations. We have complied to FFP. We don't spend bazillions amounts of money every single season. We are self-sustaining. Thank you, Arsene Wenger. Thank you for running this club properly. It's class. I love that about our club. We haven't done what Chelsea and Man City have done, where you've got oil money being pumped into the game. I'm so glad we don't do that. But being tied with this was disgusting. I felt so ashamed. So ashamed. And I felt so sorry for the players and staff and the manager when I found out they didn't even know. I was fuming with Mikel Arteta because I thought he was part of this. I thought he gave the okay and that he was fine to go along with it, to get a payoff. No doubt the players, the staff, the manager, everyone associated with these clubs would have been given a huge amount of money, bigger contracts and salaries. Absolutely, no doubt about it. Hush money, pretty much. Come with us into the Super League, we'll give you the money. We'll just do it. I'm so relieved that that wasn't the case. The players didn't know, and that's scary. That is the most terrifying thing of all, almost. How these clubs, the owners, the chairman, they've been able to do this behind the scenes, completely in the background with no one knowing, signing these incredibly awful deals that would ruin the game as we know it. Absolutely terrifying. And I'm just so pleased that, as I've said, right now, it's over. It's not happening. A big shout out to Chelsea for announcing it first that they were pulling out. And I'm sure all the clubs agreed to pull out together. Those big 6 teams I mentioned would have absolutely got together and decided that they can't do this, that the fans are absolutely fuming, okay? It's absolutely the case of being heard. This is the revolt online that was heard and seen. It wasn't the chairman and owner saying, oh, we shouldn't do this actually. It's the club saying, we can't do this. We cannot do this. Thank you, Chelsea, for starting that. I'm not saying they're the only team that would have done it. I'm not saying everyone else followed suit, but they were the first club to emerge coming out of this stupid deal. And I want to say a massive shout out to Arsenal for being the first club to apologise as well with their statement last night. Other clubs have come forward and apologised now, some with videos, some with just long articles and press releases. And thank you for apologising, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Stan Kroenke has to go. I want my club back. I want it to change. I need football itself to change. We need to get off this model where the most powerful men and women in the world can just dominate this sport and treat it like it's just quite literally a video game. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I didn't really want to make this video because everyone has shared their opinions online, and you know, if you really wanted to see mine, I've tweeted, I've talked about it there, but it feels good to talk about it in a video. Just unscripted mess of me just ranting about it. I cannot believe how much it would have affected my channel as well. Did you know that potentially if this was to go through, that FIFA 22 wouldn't have the Super League clubs? Arsenal wouldn't be in FIFA 22. Ronaldo and Messi wouldn't be in FIFA 22. Obviously, that's small issues when it comes to the greater picture, but for me, for my channel, I wouldn't be able to do an Arsenal career mode. FIFA itself would change. There would be no top 6, big 6. The big 6 would not be in the Premier League. They would not be in the game. And that was terrifying to me. And I'm going to finish this video on one final thought that might trigger some people, but this hit me harder than COVID has. Now, COVID is a bigger issue, obviously. It's killing people. It is affecting the globe. Every person is affected by COVID. But I know, in the back of my mind, this is going to be over at some point soon. We can get to the end of the COVID problem, the pandemic. We can see very distant, because it is going to be years. We can see that it's coming to an end, okay? But this was changing it forever. And that was the biggest worry for me. Football was never going to be the same if this went through. And that terrified me. I was genuinely depressed. I'm a very happy, positive person. Those few days, I was a miserable mess. I just could not believe that one of my greatest passions, if not my biggest passion in life, Family, of course, comes first, and health and things like that. But football is everything. And it was going to be ripped away from all of us just because some greedy people wanted more money. It's really sad. And, you know, we've got together as rivals and just neutrals and fans in general to fight it. And it's worked. And I'll leave it on this. Hopefully, we will fight together and stand against racism in football and other issues just as much as we have here. Because if anything, that's even more important. We have to fight racism in football just as hard as we fought this money-grabbing Super League idea. Thank God it's over. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back tomorrow.